hustle the overweight. That's why they follow me, huh? They think I know the way, cause I took control of things, ballin' the solo way. And if you pattern my trend, I make you my protege. Crossing that soldier race, niggas don't know them days. Take you in back of the buildings, make you expose your rage. Take you across the tracks, make you explode the face. Now you official now, but you got a soul to save. I just been cooking that new, I'm about to drop in the few. Think if I call it the great, the people gon' call it the truth. I ain't really trip on the credit, I just paid all of my dues. I just respected the game, now my name all in the news. Tripping on all of my moves, quote me on this, got a lot more to prove. Remember I came in this bitch, fresh out the county with nothing to lose.
For nothing, no. Wanna count on you, but I don't do this shit for nothing. No, no, not at all. You, but my money real, that you do. Oh, you know. So I don't do this shit for nothing. No, not at all. Oh, I told her
like I never left. Stand for some shit that you never read. Passing through stages in life, through the ups and the downs, like it's all just another test. Live by the rules like a fucking ref. I got respect in 100 sets. Too many chains need another chest. Playing no games if it wasn't chess. Cut from that cloth that you couldn't stretch. Cut from that circle you couldn't test. Heavily pressured and under stress, even though niggas ain't sure it was a mess. Honest attempt, blame to the left. Judge a young nigga by their address. Left us no option, what they expect. Only thing we knew for sure is the maintenance set. Fuck living basic, I'm taking risks. Fuck what they saying, I'm saying this. Don't waste your judgment, don't make you rich. It don't mean nothing, so fuck them, let's make a grip. Double up, triple up, make assists. Ballin' so hard you can pay your bitch. Link to the lake if they wanna fish. Make sure them niggas around you stick to the script. This should be written in stone. You should come visit my zone. Don't take my word, double check all of my flows. Ask them how hustle got on, but fuck what you heard. This for who walk down that road. Sold everything but they sold. Third off the curb. Real niggas rich as you nerds. Address the whom and make it. Look, lot of niggas feel what I want. Lot of niggas fold, but I cope. Lot of niggas gone, but I'm home. Lot of niggas off, but I'm on. Lot of niggas lost on this road. Couple niggas gave up they goal. Gang of niggas traded they soul. With me, I'm standing on 10 toes. Looking out my Benz window. Wonder where my friends all go. Scared to give my heart to this girl. Paranoid she gon' leave if my hands get low. Knowing that this game to be played, but I'm knowing that this game to be changed. I should be afraid of afraid. I'm just trying to live up to the meaning of my name. I'm just trying to live up to the niggas in my game. I'm just trying to live up to my moment on the stage. I'm just trying to live up to the truth of my pain and the power that it gave me on the youth for today. I put a coupe in a safe, and I shoot from the waist. My time is money, and I ain't got a second for you flukes and you fakes.
how do you give my walk?
Sweet. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's make sure we're all good here. Let's see if we're up and running. Let me see if it's good. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, we should be good. We should be good here. We should be good. Cool. As usual, a little recap from yesterday. Right? Initially, first aiming for these relatively equal lows, right? These two sets of relatively equal lows. Getting that delivered pretty early on in the session. Right, you're talking about just right after the open, right? 9:45 into the 10 a.m. Right, aim for those relatively equal lows. right? Those got hit pretty quickly. And then these relatively equal lows here, sitting on top of this busy, anticipating a shift in market structure higher. Right. Got a small reaction here. That's when we got off the session. Dug one more time. Right. Displace to the upside, creating this 15-minute busy. Right. Then we purged that one more time, and then we kind of just hung out. Kind of just hung out right there. So as usual, right? We'll start back up from the top, which is the weekly. Actually, we'll keep that for now. Let's see the weekly. Right, we're anticipating a kind of maybe a possible Tuesday low, right, which is today. We are closing in some of this busy that we had open yesterday. Right, this is like a up close candle here. Right, so we've been closing some of that in. Right, after purging that single high on the 4-hour, as well as trading up into that 4-hour SIBI. Right, but now we've kind of been trading down, right, and closing partially so far this weekly imbalance. Dropping down to the daily, I mean same thing, right? We trade up into that daily SIBI. Barely rated Thursday, I think it was Thursday's high. Yep, Thursday's high. Right, we're kind of just working our way lower, right? Drawing towards potential draws on liquidity, right? I mean, we can see what's inside this Friday's candle, right? See if there's any inefficiencies in there that we could just be filling, right? Going down a fill, make efficient, and then continue working our way up higher. Check out the 4-hour. 4 hours pretty solid. We just got this single wick here. That could be a draw. Very interesting here too as well. Short-term low. Possible displacement. Displacing below the short-term low after filling in this 4-hour SIBI. Right, possible shift in market structure on the 4-hour. Right, displacing them. If we leave this open, right, displacing below the short-term low, that could be a possible 4-hour shift in market structure. Oof. We have these relatively equal highs in here as well, which honestly those looking pretty smooth there, especially it's inside this 15 or this 1-hour busy or the SIBI, 1-hour SIBI. Right, those are pretty smooth there. Right, we also have that 1-hour. Those looking pretty smooth. Well, now we'll delete these guys from yesterday. Those got smacked. Looking solid. No inefficiencies down here. We just have this single wick. Alright, this single wick here from lunch on Friday. Lunch hour on Friday. Also have that short-term low. 1-hour SIBI possibly forming. We got about 20 minutes left in that candle. Dropping down to the 15-minute. Alright, we can see we got like a expansion to the upside. Then we got displacement. Filled in this 15-minute imbalance, and then now we're keep on displacing lower. And so far on the 15-minute, we got some bearish order flow. Right, possibly working our way down to this single low here, right? There's sell side liquidity underneath that low, especially because it's lunch as well. It's from the lunch hour, so there's definitely sell side liquidity underneath there. Alright, we have no inefficiencies inside of here. Alright, that could be possible turning points. Just have that sell side liquidity, right? That single low right here. Right, that 1-hour SIBI overlaps that 15-minute SIBI.
bottles that toxic, yeah. Standing on the couch, me and my accomplices. Pop a bottle, spot the bitch, get the bitch, got the bitch. Streets wanna know.
Just want to see some other signs of liquidity. I mean, it's a pretty straight shot, right? Once we start taking out this low, we have this low, we have no inefficiencies here, right? So that means it could be pretty quick. Oh, we got this single. Let's see the shop up a little bit. And not really any inefficiencies in here. A small one right there that we visited right here. But other than that, that's about it until we get down here. Alright, first spot would we go, consequent approach with a SWIC. 50% of that, right? Seeing how the candle bodies respect that. Right, and see. Alright, any bearish shifts in market structure without shifting the market structure higher, right? These 15-minute SIBIs. Right, let's see if we can get a shift in market structure continuing going lower. Alright, we got that one right here. Just keep drawing lower. Alright, just continuing that bearish order flow. Right, if price wants to keep working its way lower, right, it would be somewhere in here. Probably preferably this one, right? And we're looking at 50% of this move. Yeah, that one's in the premium zone right there. Alright, so let's just watch that one. If we don't get any bullish shifts in market structure, right? Got a 5-minute. 3-minute. 2-minute. 1-minute. I could get a short-term, right? Longs into here to keep continue going short, right? Possibly. Those are pretty smooth as well, right? On top of it being relatively equally high with, what is that? Yesterday's lunch high, just about. We also have the red folder dropping at 10 a.m. Be on the lookout for that. Other than that though, alright, we're gonna sit patiently until we either get up into this 15-minute SIBI with no shift in market structure in here, right? Or we get a shift in market structure and we're drawing higher, right? But we are underneath previous day's low, right? Let's take that into account. We've taken the lows out one time, right? Built in a SIBI here. South Central gangbangers that live long enough to see it change. Think it's time we make arrangements. Finally wiggle out that maze. Find me out in different places. And the smoke by the door, that's the infiltration. Double back dressed in blue laces. I flash back on that shootout at the beach, 20 deep. You tried to squeeze, your gun jammed and they released. Blood on your teeth, how many stains? I see 3. The bitch started to panic, so I made her switch seats. Driving there,
Police chopper head flying now. Really not too spook, comedy ask me, am I dying now? All I know is keep you calm and collected. Cracking jokes like, nigga, now you gon' be finally respected. See your blood leaking, got my foot on his gas. Toss the 40, we pull up to Daniel Free and see crash. You know the alibi, they start shooting, we was standing by. Ain't see nothing but flare from the talons fly. I wasn't there, I was passing by. Matter of fact, don't say shit, I'm just gonna drop you in the back and slide. That's your weed, all the cash is mine. I take them both to the spot, plus your phone till you back online.
Yeah, I'm tryna go down, down as a grave. Every night I get on my knees and pray that I will go down. Yeah, I will go down. Yeah.
Legendary moves, leader of my crew. Heavy is the head that wear the crown, that shit true. Do it like Nip Hustle, that's to fill some big shoes. And what good is excuses when the fucking wrist do? Smoking all this Indo, run away from my pain, rosemary on my temples. Heard that's good for migraines, solo in my benzo. Exit off the highway, solitary thoughts like how to reinvest my side
I'm
chain.
tryna go down, down as a grave. Every night I get on my knees and pray that I will go down. Yeah, that I will go down. Yeah, I'm tryna go down, down as a lich. Every night I aim, God for the bliss. That I will go down. Yeah, I will go down. Yeah.
Nah, so many niggas doing time. Who are you and I? To play with it, it's a blessing, so reach for the sky. Pick up Shady off the block and we'll smoke and drive. Politicking on the block to make it multiply. Keep some bitches on the team from the other side. Keep at least a pound of green, motherfucking right. 30 hours in the spot, going overtime. Then we pull up to the Fox and don't hold it down. You know this life, it got a cold design. How you go from eating lobster tails at Ocean Prime? The chain to a smoker and thrown on the line. But when them gates close, keep an open mind. It ain't no force in this world like a focus drive. You gotta focus on yourself like an only child. You make your dream realer and you make your team better. You wake your game up and you make your scheme better.
They say this time, won't be like the last time, But this time, I'ma do it like my last time.
Alright, we're about 1 minute from the first AM macro session. Right, and about 10 minutes away from the 10 AM news dropping. Right, just given the place, right, and what price is doing, if we keep that 1 hour, right, that 1 hour inefficiency, right, that Sibi. Ooh, we've actually almost closed it in. We're about on the 4 hour. Oh yeah, okay. We'll see how it closes, right? But right, if we pretty much close this in, especially like the 1 hour too, we could just be purging some liquidity underneath this low and not really setting up for the shift in market structure, especially if this body, right, retracts up, right, and doesn't really close near this low here, right? Let's say it closes above these candle closes as well, right? That's kind of indicating that's just like peeking down there real quick, purging the liquidity, right, previous day's low, and then we're gonna continue going higher. Right. Small little 1 minute busy we're respecting right there. But so far, right, no definitive, right? We have a small little tiny 5 minute busy right there. This high, right? We're trading above this high after purging this low. This is actually looking like it wants to shift. Look at how we displaced, right? Or not displaced. Look how we traded above this short-term high here. Right? No displacement in this leg. Right? It looks like it wants to shift to market structure, but it doesn't, right? No displacement. Then we take that low. Right? This is also the news that we had this morning. Orange folder. 9 AM. We purge this low. Look at the bodies. They close higher. now we're taking this high here. So let's see if we can get a good, decent close up here. Small little 1 minute busy. Right, so we could possibly potentially get another shift in market structure. Right, somewhere in here. Right, continuing going higher. Right, that would also fill in some of this. I think it's already filling in that 1 hour. Alright, that 1 hour potential CB here. We just need to come up to 56.2650.
Chess moves, but it was God grace. Crooked ass whoever till we all straight.
56.2650.
South Central state of mind, high crime rate. Homicide, hate gang banging to get you all day. Look at my face. Keep taking me higher and higher.
Let's see if we can get up there.
Don't you know that the devil is a liar? I know they'd rather see me down, put my soul in the fire.
Nice shift in market structure on the 3 minute. Let's check this out. Yeah, range is pretty wide. There we go. 56.2650. That was, we closed the entire gap for that SIBI. Right, so it's looking like it doesn't want to shift in market structure to the downside. Alright, so this is kind of right. We can aim towards these relative equal highs here. Alright, these relative equal highs from London are also relatively equally high with this high from just after lunch. Alright, 1 hour SIBI, 15-minute SIBI. Got news dropping here in about 7 minutes. Alright, drawing up towards that 15-minute SIBI. Alright, let's see how price reacts when we get up there. Right, possibly creating this imbalance here, this busy. So right, if we don't get a shift in market structure in this 15-minute, which we shouldn't, right, if we're bullish, we shouldn't, right, we should not get a shift in market structure lower here. And if we create this 15-minute or this 5-minute imbalance, right, I'll be looking for price to draw back down into here, right, given this gets left open. Price draws back into this inefficiency, right, and then we get a lower time frame shift in market structure to continue going higher. That's what we're kind of looking at right now.
Caution to you rap niggas trying to diss me. I go hard, that's why your bitch wanna flip me. Big guns, nigga turn rivals into rosaries, extended clips. I give a fuck who you supposed to be. Straight off the block, I sold dope to buy groceries. Now it's rap money, no advances, all royalties. You broke, nigga, you can follow me. It's fuck bitches, get money, keep some hollow heads logically. And I'm for where homicide boost the economy. Pay taxes to these corners and putting in work as a policy. It's white chalk on the corners. Yellow tape on the gates. Choppers up above, that's cuz a tiny lokes run the streets where I'm from. Small introduction to this Nipsey Hustle music. Us money and bitches, that's the way that we do it. First get your bride on, then get your shine on. Then come through daytime with the lights on. Then hit the fast lane, and let your chain swing. You get like a doctor, but you gang bang. Yeah.
Alright, so possibly leaving this 5-minute busy open. Right before the news, right? So if this candle doesn't retrace, right, and close this 5-minute busy in, I'd be looking for that news to drop us in here, right? Potentially get that shift to market structure to continue going higher.
I'm the type that's gonna go get it, no kidding. Breaking down a swish in front of your building, sitting on the steps feeling no feelings. Last night it was a cold killing. You gotta keep the devil in his hole, nigga. But you know how it go, nigga. I'm front line every time it's on, nigga. 100 pro flow, run and shoot pro. 458 drop, playing bulletproof soul. Every few shows, I just buy some new gold. Circle got smaller, everybody can't go. Downtown Diamond District, jewelers like yo. Hustle, holla at me, I got Cubans on the low.
right? This is actually looking like it wants to set up, right, for that news to give the setup. Right, it kind of looking like we're creating that 5-minute busy. Right, we're creating that 5-minute busy. To get the news, right? If it, oh, maybe not. If it closes it in, then no. But if it doesn't, it leaves that open. It's looking like something for the news. Leaving relatively equal highs right before that 15-minute, right? Building that buy side liquidity.
Same nigga walking track with you. Same nigga shot a strap with you. Same nigga bought a sack with you. 19 touching 2 birds. Alpine is off a few swerves. Gray leather in my
Got about 2 minutes to this news drops, and the hourly candle closes. Right, the 15-minute candle closes. I think even the 4-hour candle closes as well. Yeah. Right. Pretty. All right. If we close out the candle right about here, somewhere in here, right, compared to how this candle was when we first hopped on the session, looking like it just wants to purge previous day's low. Right. So this is how I'm kind of walking through shifting, right? Shifting from being bearish, right, potentially getting that higher time frame shift in market structure, to it looks like we're just purging the lows to purge liquidity to continue going higher. Right, we've also closed in, look at that, we completely closed in that 1 hour SIBI that was initially here. Right, we opened down here, closed that completely in, right? We didn't leave that open, right, which we were thinking was going to get left open. Right, drop it down to the 15-minute. We just created a, or actually it's on the 5-minute, but 15-minute SIBI. We just didn't quite get up into there, which is, in my opinion, building buy sell liquidity. Right, we got news dropping here in about 45 seconds. Right. Let's see if we can get that shift in market structure somewhere inside of here. Right, we left a partial of that 15-minute busy open, right, and we're building buy side liquidity here. So let's see if we can trade down here, get another shift in market structure, continue going higher. Right, don't want to shift in market structure inside this 15-minute SIBI. Right, first target, draw up into here. Right, we're building a buy side liquidity. Right, so that would be our first target to draw up into. Second target we're looking at is these relatively equal highs from London are relatively equal with the lunch high from yesterday. All right, so we just had the news drop. So we'll let it play out for a little bit and see what it sets up.
Back to the brick wall, I'm in hella trees. Visualizing hella cheese, you can smell a weed. Niggas doubt pessimism ain't affecting me. Fuel to the fire, took it higher than they ever seen. Frequent flights, sink like 7 6. Shopping spree, spend about 11 G's. Eyes bloodshot, I don't never sleep. My niggas act on instinct, we don't never think. When confronted with a problem, we don't never flee. We connected at the bottom like the letter V. So accustomed to the pop, we don't even blink when them shots go off. Get the Glock show off. Yellow tape a nigga equal up to hate a nigga. Nothing major, nigga, just a demonstration, nigga. Within the matrix, nigga, I drew illustrations with them. Words that is, for sure that is. Look, that nigga got his off the curb, that is. So how the fuck is nigga so concerned with his? I be baffled by the fact when niggas burn their bridge and try to double back like, what the fuck is that like? Niggas want this rap like, way too bad.
Just fine. And we ain't finna wait no more, so don't waste my time. Remember when we had no way, but we'll be okay for now. We'll be okay for now, and here on now.
Now you up, huh? Make it hard to trust, huh? Got you fucked up, saying it was luck, huh? Pulling up, huh? Limo tint the trucks, huh? Open trust, huh? Then you fill them up, huh? Every time a nigga drop, it's real as fuck, huh? Every time you hit the road, you fill them up, huh? Whole city know that you became the one, huh? They seen it from the jump, huh? The pressure weigh a ton, huh? Especially where you come from. Every night, heavy price, but it's just the cloth you cut from. It's alright, it's just life if you want one. Learn to hold yourself down with a big gun. All these niggas playing tough, you gon' chip one. For these dollars a decade, you a risk one. Fuck it though, cause when you flat broke, you ain't nothing, bro.
Alright, so we just got up there from the news, right? Tapped into that 15-minute city. Right, but we're still on. Yeah. We still haven't traded down into this 5-minute imbalance just quite yet. Right, but we cleared those relatively equal highs that we're generating right there. Right before that 15-minute city. Looking good. A couple things that I heard on this podcast from Hermosi that I was writing down, which I thought was interesting. He's talking about just like definitions of things. He said learning is the same condition but new behavior. Right? Same condition but new behavior. So it's like when you're learning something, like he gives the example of making phone calls. Right? If you call somebody, or if somebody calls you and you pick up and you say like ABC, right? The next time somebody calls you and you say DEF, right? That's a new behavior, right? That means you've learned, right? But if somebody tells you to say DEF and you say ABC multiple times over and over again, right? It's the same condition, but it's not a new behavior, so you're not like learning. And like at the speed at which you learn, right? The speed at which you learn, right? And how many times you get exposed to the same condition in order to change your behavior, right? That's intelligence right there. Which I thought is like super, it's very interesting because if you think about like trading, right? Trading wise, price action, I mean, sure, I mean, it's unique, but it's like what you're looking for, your model is the same condition, right? So if it's like basic, I mean, not basic, but like fundamental things that happen, right? Like let's say like over trading, right? Getting in too early, right? Getting in too late, right? Those are things that are, they can get lost, and we can just be repeating the same behavior, right? Given the conditions, right? So at the rate that you're implementing and changing your behavior, right? That's you learning, right? That shows how intelligent you are, right? At what speed do you implement, you know, more patience, right? Very interesting.
That's why I call my thing the marathon, because I'm not gonna lie and portray this ultimate poise like I've had it figured out. Nah, I just didn't quit. That's the only distinguishing quality from me and probably whoever else going through this or went through this or is gonna go through this, is that I ain't quit. I went through every emotion. I went through every emotion with trying to pursue what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And I think that what gonna separate whoever's gonna try to go for something is that you ain't gonna quit. Unless, you know, you're gonna really take the stance if I'm gonna die behind what I'm getting at right now.
Fuck where your hoes at, or where your roads at, where your
Tapping into that 15-minute imbalance.
Where your down since day one real bros at, where them stories that you telling unfold at, where your heart, nigga, where your soul at. We got old school ways we expose at. Ain't no guarantees, but you know that niggas die every day, can't control that.
I think that our reaction to being disrespected, we have to reassess how we react. You know what I mean? I think that we've been known as hip hop to make songs, and that's a part of it. And then we gotta go a step further, because I think that it's like a disease in your body. Once you start giving it a treatment, it'll get immune to the treatment, and you gotta try something else to kill that disease. So I think protest music is important. I think that YG was a genius.
Fuck where your hoes at, or where your roads at, where Where your backbone, nigga, where your code at? Where your down since day one, real bros at? Where them stories that you tellin' unfold at? Where your heart, nigga, where your soul at? We got old school ways we expose that. Ain't no guarantees, but you know that. Niggas die every day, can't
Yeah, let's wait around for that 10:30 turn, right? See what price wants to do. But we did get that expansion, right? Drawing towards liquidity during that first AM macro session. Right, drawing up here. Drawing up towards this 15-minute SIBI. Right before the news, right?
Never gonna love no broken bitch. Whoa. Was it on that beat?
Ride round, out of bounds, 40 cal, 30 rounds. You make it from nothing, such a wonderful feeling. My clothes expensive, my hoes pilling.
Start to lose friends when they notice you winning. They see that we winning. Start to lose friends when they notice you winning. They see that we winning.
Look, came to get money, pat on my back cause I did it. I pull up in foreign, blowing smoke through the ceiling. You make it from nothing, such a wonderful feeling. My clothes expensive, my hoes pilling. My cars go fast, my pockets is fat. I take your bitch and we go shopping in Saks. I'm a popular Mac, never stop for them brats. Dipped a lot of them racks, oh I fuck with this rap. Niggas hustling back, so they stuck in the set. Playing Russian roulette, me I'm puffing the best. I'm a fucking exec, money, power, respect. All my weapons is fresh, on the west I'm a rep. I'm the fucking connect, I can cut you a check. I can put you in the game, let you hustle the rest. Got a lust for success, you know it come with the stress. So we party every night, what the fuck you expect? Look, round, out of bounds, 40 cal, 30 rounds. You make it from nothing, such a wonderful feeling. My clothes expensive, my hoes pilling.
Start to lose friends when they notice you winning.
Alright, just being patient. Alright, prices kind of just chilling right underneath that 15-minute SIBI. Nothing too much going on. Right, looking for us to drop down into around this 5-minute imbalance here. Right, this busy. Waiting for that shift in market structure again, right, to continue going higher. Darren, good morning, brother. How are you? How's work been? How's everything else? Alright, we just had news drop at 10 a.m. Right? Kind of just waiting for price to drop down into this 5-minute imbalance area right here. Get that shift in market structure, right, to go long. Alright, we have some relatively equal highs here. Alright, relatively equal highs here from London. Right, London session, right? They're also, those relatively equal highs are also relatively equal high with yesterday's just after lunch high, right, that are inside this 1-hour SIBI, right? So anticipating that we're drawing up there, that's what I'm aiming for up there, right? So now it's seeing if price can drop down, right, drop down into that 5-minute little tiny fair value gap, right? Get that shift in market structure again, but aiming for relatively equal highs. Alright, just filling in some 2-minute imbalance here, or 3-minute imbalance, same as the 2-minute.
we bust back. Bulletproof, everything, you can trust that. You done it like we done it, I suggest that. Cause would you rather be the victim or the suspect? No, I came too far. Change my ways, no, I changed my bra. Change my change, never change my squad. And stack till I can change my car. Cause I wanna Benz, I wanna look good with my
Good to hear, dude. Good to hear. Good to hear. Very solid, very solid. Weekend solid. Weekend solid. You know, been putting in like a lot of miles, so that's just been like how to incorporate that with just everyday life, you know. Trading in the morning, working during the day, and then, you know, working out and running later. So just like making sure that training, right, my training gets in has been like super important, right? I've got up to about 55 miles this past week, so this week's gonna have to be over aiming for 61 miles total for the week. So, you know, that's gonna be interesting to incorporate that in with, like, you know, waking up early, showing up for the charts, looking at the charts, working all day, working out, and then, you know, running afterwards. So it's going good. Can't complain, can't complain.
Tried to hit him up, now you wanna get him up and set it up and wait it up. Now I'm from the hood, checking niggas on the daily. Started off BG, OG, baby. Real live homie, 2 heaters in my seat. Had to check a nigga at the Compton swap meet. Where you from? I don't bang. Where you live? Where you hang? Say the wrong thing and bang. Lights out, kites out to the homies.
Alright, haven't closed yet in this 15-minute city. We're kind of just been wicking inside of there. Alright. But I do want to see us, right? I don't want to see that shift in market structure, right? Necessarily. Right? I want to see it on, I don't want to see it on the short side, right? Rather see it on the long side. Because we got these relatively equal highs up here. I was also talking about how we closed in this 1 hour Cibi. This was a Cibi at one point, right? The open was down here for this candle, right? So it was open. We totally came back in the last like 15 minutes of this 1 hour candle, completely closed that in. Let's see on the 4 hour. Yeah, 4 hour, we've already pretty much closed that in as well, right? This was gonna, this at one point was displacing below this low, right? So thinking we're gonna get that 4 hour shift in market structure, but we pretty much closed it in. So what does that kind of tell me? That kind of tells me we're gonna continue drawing higher, right? We're not leaving any inefficiencies open, right? We pretty much closed this one in as well. We just have to get up to 56.3350. Right, that's the next area. If we close that in, right, that's looking real nice. All right, dropping down the 15-minute. Yeah, just waiting for price to drop back down into this leg, right? Getting that shift in market structure higher. Yeah, not creating any imbalance. No imbalances left yet on that, right? On the short side here. Come below that short-term low here, right? This short-term low, come below it here, right? But no fair value gaps, right? Candle pretty much closes it all the way in. So looking solid, right? Prefer it to be right around that 1030 turn, right? That shift in market structure to the upside, right around that 1030 turn. Right, so let's what is that low right here on this 5-minute candle? 56.24.25. Looking good, looking good, looking good. Hey Darren, you ever listen to Hermosi at all? Or Chris Williamson? You ever listen to those guys? Either Hermosi or Chris. Chris has a podcast, and then Hermosi's. Yeah. Oh, fire. They just dropped a podcast yesterday, and I was kind of just talking about like how it was super interesting how Hermosi like defines like things like love, learning, and intelligence. Right. Let me see. Hold on. Oh, yeah, we good. You know, and it's just like super interesting. He defines like learning, right? I'll read it to you. Right, still waiting just for price to drop down about 26. What is that? 56, 24, 25, which is right about right here. Oh, almost there. But he was talking about just like learning. Same condition, new behavior. Right? Same condition, new behavior. So the example he kind of gives, is, you know, like let's say you're answering the phone, and like every time that you answer the phone, you say like A, B, and C, right? Then somebody tells you, right? Next time you answer the phone, say like D, E, F. If the next time somebody calls and you say D, E, F, right, you have learned, right? It's the same condition, just a new behavior, right? But let's say, right, somebody tells you say D, E, F, and you say A, B, C again, right? And like again, and it like takes you a couple times to finally say D, E, F, right, when you answer the phone. That right there, right, the speed at which you change, he calls that intelligence. Right, so same condition, new behavior, right? And super interesting when you think about it. I was just thinking about like trading, right? The markets are relatively the same, right? It's the same condition, right? If you're waiting for that model. Did we drop it down into that 5-minute imbalance yet? Just shy, relatively equal lows right on that imbalance. Right, because we do have this imbalance, but I rather drop down into that 5-minute first, right? We're still pretty high in this leg. I want to get at a discount. Yeah. But I just thought about that, like with the markets, like pertaining to the markets, right? It's relatively the same condition every single day, but it's like to display new behavior shows that you've learned, right? And if you're still doing the same behaviors, right, for the same condition, right, then you really haven't learned yet, right? And how fast you can implement it from learning to like actionable things, right, just shows the level of intelligence that you're operating at, which I thought is super interesting. Just like, I mean, for anything, it could be trading, it could be training, right, training and working out, you know, it could be you know, working at your job, right? If somebody's telling you to do something and you're not changing your behavior, right? Are you actually learning? Right? Are you actually learning? Probably not. Right? Probably not. You know, so I just thought that was super interesting. I mean, just like adjusting those frameworks. I mean, Hermosi has some really good frameworks that he goes by, and you know, very grateful that we're able to sit in on his conversations. Honestly, like super lucky. Yeah, I'd rather wait and see if we can get below these relative equal lows here. Right, those are super smooth. Right, like his frameworks is like way to kind of like check yourself. That's the way I kind of look at it. It's like, do we perceive, I mean, they talk about this too, right? The closer that we get to like the truth of, you know, defining words, definitions and stuff, right? That like gets us to see a truer reality of the world, you know? If we don't even know why we believe some of the things that we believe in, then technically we're seeing the world like slightly skewed. Yeah, for sure, definitely. The ability to accept, to adapt is so vital to learning. Absolutely. I mean, this just goes for anything. I mean, this is just like learning in general, you know what I mean? And it is like, let's say for instance, right? I mean, like a personal example is I was talking to one of my homies that does like ultra marathon training, or just like ultra marathons in general, 100 milers. He's done the Moab 240, multiple marathons, you know, qualified for the Boston Marathon. And, you know, I mean, we hopped on a call and he was kind of just telling me about it. And I'm like, damn, I need to get a race in the calendar. And so we started, we started instantly looking up like 50K races near me, you know, and just talking about it and going through it. And I'm like, this is something that I want, you know. The very next day, right, was day one of the training. You know what I mean? I went from idea to I want to do this thing to being able to implement it and started training the very next day. You know, like you just set your mind. I have a lot of experience with running too, so it's like able to just like flip that switch and like instantly just get into that training mode. You know, idea into implementation like at a quick rate. Right, so trading up into the upper half of this 15-minute Sibi. Right, there we go. Right, just traded through it. Looking like we want to draw towards those relatively equal highs up here. Right, didn't quite give us any model just yet. You know, but let's see price still. All right, I still want to see price draw up to those relatively equal highs.
How you doing, baby? Don't skip nothing. No, play this. This the best album in the world, baby. Very peaceful. You know.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, Hermosi talks about like that's like a, right? We talk about an edge in the market. That's an edge in real life. You know, being able to go from like idea to implementation very fast. You know, and he talks about this concept of like just starting and getting the thread pulling, because you're not gonna have like perfect information to act on, right, and do the best thing when you're first starting out something. So, you know, just start pulling the thread, right? That's what he says. Just start, and then as you, right, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. As you get more experience and you do more of the thing, right, you get better, right, which makes you able to like implement things differently and to do more of the right things to like align with your goal and to like achieve it. So it's very interesting. Looks like we're making relatively equal highs with this single high here. Looking solid. Just no entry model, that's it, but it's doing right what we want it to do, which is draw up towards these relatively equal highs. Buy side liquidity, buy stops are resting up there, right? So aiming for those. It's also generating more buy side liquidity here by coming just shy of this single high here, right? this single high right here, 745. Right, creating relatively equal highs here, right? That's generating buy side liquidity.
Always drove down to the bay just to pay me. I'm foolish. I'm a dog, but nigga 100, I ain't next to bitch at all. Don't blame me, blame the bench. Stock AMG had to switch. Tracy, how you been? I'ma keep it 100, I hit it again. My name is Larry, and bitch I'm an Aries, and bitch I'm a player. I don't wanna get married. These niggas is weird, so I'm to the neck. Riding around the bay, I got traps to check.
What is something that you're learning, that you've learned this week or this past week, that has stuck out to you? I'm curious. Right, what is something that you've learned this past week, right, that stuck out to you? All right, let me know. Right, any like concept or idea or like new framework of thinking about things? Okay, solid. What going into it, right, public speaking, what emotions do you feel? Right, are you calm, excited, nervous? How do you feel before like going up in front of people and speaking? Oh, and then like, oh, leading, yeah, like directing meetings. What about it? Like, yeah, what are you learning about it, or like takeaways from it? Right, just filling this in, balancing this 1 minute busy here. I filled that in right there. It's 10:27. Right, coming up on that 10:30 turn here. Right, we could get up into that 1 hour imbalance up here. Right, definitely drawing towards those relatively equal highs. Oh yeah, look at that. Juicy relatively equal highs inside this 1 hour imbalance. Right, this 1 hour SIBI. Looking solid here. Of course, nervous. Interesting. Do you think everybody gets nervous beforehand? Solid. The prep? Yeah. Prep for sure. How long is the meeting for? And like how often do they happen? That's important as well. Look at that. Just tapped into that 1 minute busy. Right, continuing drawing higher. We're just shy of that 1 hour SIBI. We should be able to tap into it here. All right, this 15-minute SIBI is looking real nice, right? Right at the end right there, we just started expanding, creating this buy side inefficiency here. Or buy side imbalance, excuse me. Buy side imbalance. It's a skill you work on. Absolutely. Hermosi and Chris were talking about this too, the public speaking thing. That's all I'm asking. Hermosi has talked about the prep in the past, right? He has like a ratio of like how long the meeting is to how much prep it needs prior. Solid though. I mean, that's like so key coming into the conversation, just being well prepared. You know, that's super solid. And then roughly once a week, yeah. But he says a skill that you work on. Yeah, the example they give is they talk about comedians, right, doing the show. Right, this is off in the podcast. They talk about comedians doing the show, right, and like a tour, right, a 300. One of his buddies just did like a 300-day tour, right, of shows, right, and he was talking to him after. Chris was talking to his buddy after. He was saying that towards the end of the shows, right, like the end of the tour, that he was feeling more like a performer and less like a comedian, right? He says that I've said the lines, done the pauses so many times, right? It's not that, like, he's practiced that same set hundreds of times beforehand, you know. So he's like, I think I'm on the tour, I'm more of a performer, right? He's trying to like add more of the performing aspect than like the actual comedian, because he's saying the same script over and over again, you know. And by the end of it, he's not even nervous, right? Because it's so boring, so verbatim, right? There's not even thinking that goes into it, because it's just so repetitive, you know. He's like sick and tired of it because he's done it so many times, you know. And then right, oh, that's solid, dude. That's solid. Yeah, there's nothing worse than like a meeting that you're just dragging on that's absolutely useless. Definitely. Do you ever ask them for feedback? Or do other people also speak? I'm curious. Do other people also speak, and do you ask for feedback? Nice. We just dropped, just traded up into this 1 hour Sibby here. Right, only about, let's see, 4.5 handles away from those relatively equal highs, right? Even closer to the London highs here, right? No entry model, but nonetheless, right? Still drawing towards our target, right? Still drawing towards our target. Right, it's right. We start off the session, right, reading, right, that it was gonna be. It looked like we were shifting on the higher time frame short, but right, adapting, adjusting, looking at price more objectively, right, and what is it tilting its hand and showing us, right, then flipping that bias. Very solid. Even though no entry model or anything, just be able to identify like when the market is tilting its hand and going against what you initially thought, right, and being able to adjust it. I thought that was pretty solid here. Pretty solid. Just depends. Yeah, just depends. Okay. A team thing, solid. Solid. Are your parents good public speakers, would you say? I would say that's another thing to look back at, like genetics. Would you say your parents are good public speakers, or they're more extroverted in that way? Or no? Because I feel if you listen to Ty, right, Ty Lopez, he talks about that is something that is genetic, right? Nope, not really. Oh, interesting, right? Interesting. You're gonna have to like be that much. Did have anyone? Yeah. You're gonna have to put in that much extra work, right? For sure. Just like knowing like where you stand and like where your foundation is. If you know your parents and like family members and like their parents, their grandparents and stuff like that are not as good as public speakers and like not putting themselves out there as much, right? You just have to like build off that foundation, you know? Just like knowing that, you know? Yep. 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 I didn't realize I've been listening to him recently, right? A lot more, like maybe the past like couple months, on just like how much genetics plays a role into things, you know, like setting up your foundation, right? Sure, absolutely, we can adjust and like become different people, but just like, I mean, most important thing is know thyself, right? Know thyself. Know where, like, I mean, especially in trading, like know where you fail, right? Like knowing where like the market can like tilt you, right? Or where you get tilted at like what point do you get tilted, right? And like, you know, just knowing yourself is super crucial. Super crucial, right? I mean, like a perfect example that's outside of trading, which is working out, is like if you know you don't want to work out in the morning and you usually work out later, you'll set up your day to where you don't have time, right? And it's like an inconvenience to work out later, right? That's like knowing yourself like on a deep level and knowing that you will avoid it later if it comes down to it, you know? Like, oh, something came up. It's like, no, nothing came up. You booked your schedule, so then you don't have time to work out. Like that's what's going on. Like deep down inside, that's like what's in the reality of what's actually happening. You know yourself the best. Like, you know, if you don't want to work out, you're going to set up your day so you don't have time to work out, quote unquote. You don't have time. You know, so it's like you can like reverse engineer that that environment for sure, absolutely. The genetics, look it up. The genes, man, the genes are some of the oldest things that we know, right? That we can go back. It's like the longest blockchain, right? We could just go so far back into it. The genes, yeah. Honestly, right? I'm still learning it myself. I'm fucking no expert in it, but the genes, I'm starting to realize, like, if you go back and you look at what your parents did, what your grandparents did on both sides, it's like, you know, we're 50-50 our parents, we're 25% our grandparents, and then you know, 12.5% of our great grandparents. So like, what are they good at? What, like, narcissism runs in the genes, you know, stuff like that. Talks about patience, you know, things like that, you know. So it's like we can kind of play to our strengths of like, what did they do, you know, what were they good at, what skills that they have, you know, that we can just have like a start. If we're looking at life like as a start line, right? Some people start ahead in some areas and some people start behind in some areas, you know. For like me personally, like growing up, reading for some reason was very difficult. Reading and staying focused is very difficult, you know. So you have to go to like extra classes, you know, you have to get taken out. I had to get taken out of tests in elementary school, like taken out from the classroom and go and like have like a special testing area where they like read me the prompts, because I just like didn't comprehend reading and like understanding. And then once I started doing that, like test scores started increasing by so much, just because I didn't understand what the question was asking for. Because I just didn't understand, like I didn't know how to read very well, you know. So it's just like, I mean, knowing, if I knew that, right, I really would have honed in on like, you know, doing double work, because, you know, that in that area of my skill set, I just started very low, you know. So if I would have just like known that, like, you know, then, you know, you can overcome that, right, by doubling down and reading like twice as much as everybody else is reading, you know what I mean? Reading like books daily, right? That's just something I just didn't know about myself, that I struggled that much in that area, if that makes sense. Right, tapped into that 1 hour Sibby. Nothing too crazy, honestly, right? We got that expansion after the news, right, to the upside, right? We're still aiming for this buy side liquidity to get purged, but other than that, right, no entry model, right? We just kind of filled in this 1 minute busy right after purging through this 15-minute Sibby here, right? Which I initially wanted to shift the market structure lower at the beginning of the session, but just like switching bias once it started, you know, tilting its hand going the other way, that it wants to go the other way. right? Just like little signatures in price. Right, but knowing thyself, right? I feel like, I mean, it's just like anything, right? It's like, I feel like you can do this for nutrition as well. I mean, you could do this towards anything, but like nutrition, right? You know, if like you're working, probably more likely, if you don't bring your lunch, more likely to consume bad food and go eat out. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not a shocker that you get hungry around lunchtime every single day at work. You know what I mean? It's not like, it's like this phenomenon, like, why am I getting hungry? Maybe because I haven't eaten all day and I've been working. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you're trying to like change your diet up or whatever, like, higher probability, if you do eat something, it's probably not going to be the things that you want to be putting in your body, you know, unless you bring your own lunch. Like a small example, you know. Hey. Going over to the hourly. Ooh, let's see if we can get that shift in market structure on this hourly, right? We got this short-term high here, possible 1 hour imbalance, right? We got about 16 minutes left in the candle. If we come up and purge those relative equal highs, I can see us definitely creating that 1 hour imbalance. Creating that 1 hour imbalance would mean right, this shift in market structure, all right, we're going, right? I'm thinking we're going all-time highs. Right, we got that liquidity up there, but we also have this 4 hour imbalance, right? This huge 4 hour inefficiencies up there that we could draw towards, right? That are past these relative equal highs. So, right, and it's Tuesday, right? Anticipating, right? I talked about this yesterday too. Anticipating the low gets put in for the week on a Tuesday, right? Which it looks like we could be setting up for, right? Low of the week on Tuesday, right? We just purged Monday's previous day's low, right? Monday's low, which is the previous day's low. We just purged that here, right? Now we get a displacement on the higher time frames to the upside, right? That could be looking really solid, really solid. Yeah, look at that 15-minute imbalance too after we took this high. That's looking nice. No inefficiencies down here too as well. Right, this busy kind of overlaps with this initial SIBI that we had here, which is very nice. Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right, just like I like Hermosi too, because he just like sets up expectations around things so well. Like just reworking frameworks on how we think about certain situations and ideas. You know, he's talking about like how you're able to, right? It's an edge in the markets, right? It's an edge in life in general. Being able to stick to something without seeing the results from it immediately, right? Kind of have like that delayed gratification. You know, but being able to stick with something, right, and just be focused on the climb, right? Just be focused on like basically the progress of reaching towards where you're trying to go, right? And it's very interesting when like they bring up the concept of working out, right? Working out is kind of the only thing that can give you a preview on, if I stay consistent with this is the body that I can create. When you get that nasty pump going, right? You get that absolute nasty pump. You're basically seeing a preview on like, if I stick to this, that's where I can go, right? When I'm not having a pump, right? When I'm just flat, not working out, that's what I want to be at, right? And it's very interesting. There's nothing quite like it that I can think of that gives you that same preview, right? It's not like you go work a job for like a day and then they wire you like $1 million at the end of the day and then they take it out. It's not like you can see that future if I stick with it, you know? I mean, it's the same thing with running too. It's not like the first day that you go out and go run on the track for a little bit. It's not like you get a preview of like your PR for the marathon, you know, and like you get to see and feel and experience what that is gonna hold, right? But it's interesting with working out, you can get that like little preview of the future, right? And he just talks about like, you know, I mean, the goal is to just have like that inward, right? That inward reassurance from yourself, like that you know, for one, this is contingent on that you're directionally correct on the thing that you want to do, right? But just like being able to stick with it without seeing any results from it, you know? It's like being able to, you know, because they talk about how it gets exponential, right? Like Chris talks about his podcast had like no views, right? No views, and then all of a sudden, like the exponential graph just starts taking off. And it's like you look at all like that first year, he says he was getting like no views. Then all of a sudden, like it just starts taking off, and it starts like getting exponential, you know. But he's doing like the same exact thing. You know? It's like, I mean, you can consider that with like investing as well, right? It's not like you very first start like, it's not like you buy the S&P 500 one day, all of a sudden it 100x's. That's your future. You know, it just doesn't happen. You don't get that preview, right? You really need, especially with investing, you really need that like that just longevity mindset, you know, of like, I'm picking the right asset, I'm buying this asset, I'm doubling down every time this asset goes down because it's that good, you know. And I believe I can see, right, without seeing with my eyes, I can see it being worth whatever 100 times more, 10x more, right, in the future. And that's why like every time it goes down, like I'm able to double down with no problem, no hesitation, because you know, you believe in the underlying so much, right. Nothing too crazy going on. We're just kind of chilling under this 1 hour Sibi, right? We're heading into the 2nd AM macro, right? So this is about a wrap for me. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, doing some little rants. We'll be back on tomorrow. We got some that oil reserve, right? It's not a red folder, but we had some reaction off of that, right? We had some pretty good movement off of that. That's at 10:30 tomorrow. And then we got about 2 red folders on Thursday and Friday, right? One on Thursday, 8:30 a.m. and then another one on Friday, 8:30 a.m. Right? No setups today. It looks like we're about to purge this. Honestly, I want to get notified when we purge those relatively equal highs. Right? Initially, right, looking for shorts. But then as the market started, right, if you go back and listen, right, as it starts drawing higher, shifting the market structure, right, closing in, especially closing in that 1 hour and 4 hour Sibi, potential Sibi, right, that was making me think, okay, I think we're going to continue going higher. I think we're only coming lower to purge some liquidity, right, because it's not leaving those imbalances open, which I initially was anticipating that those get left open to go short. But closing those in, right, it's kind of tilting its hand that maybe it just going down there to purge some liquidity, which it was. So then I flipped. I'm like, we're going for buy side liquidity, right? We're not going for any more sell side liquidity, which I initially thought this low was going to get taken, right? Instantly flipped once we started closing those in, right around that 10 o'clock a.m. turn, right? That 10 a.m. And then look at us now, right? Drawing up into that 1 hour imbalance that I had marked up initially. So very solid. Hey. So with that being said, appreciate everybody for tuning in. Right. And I will catch you guys tomorrow. Appreciate you. Take care. Peace out.